Welcome to the France 24 Observers. This show is based on our network of observers. They're ordinary people who tell us what's going on where they are and send in photos and videos to document it. We check everything here in Paris and bring the best to you. Our first stop today is Patagonia, the mythical region at the bottom of South America, known for its pristine mountains, huge skies and sparse population. But there are people who live there, and in the Chilean part of Patagonia, they've had enough. Enough of being ignored by the central government 2,000 kilometers to the north. They have launched protests that have virtually shut down the local economy. Our observer Alonso Núñez is in Puerto Aysén.
The last few weeks have been violent. It started when the police came out onto the streets. They shot at people, sometimes in the head, sometimes a body. We've got pictures that show everything. Our region is called Aysén. The central government has always neglected it. For example, we've got a global reserve of fresh water. It's one of Chile's great natural resources. But the water is privately owned. 95% of all the freshwater resources are in the hands of foreign companies like Extrata, the copper mining giant, or Endesa, which is owned by the Italian energy company Enel. What it means is that if you have a villager, an old man who's lived there for 80 years, and he wants to take some water from the river, he has to ask permission from a foreign multinational. For the time being, negotiations with the government are going nowhere, but the protesters have made it clear, if they send the police in again, they're going to defend themselves.
Now to Russia and the election that saw Vladimir Putin return to the presidency. The opposition said there was widespread fraud. Our observer Roman Dobrokhotov was watching closely as an official election observer. He said that while there was less obvious ballot stuffing than in December's parliamentary election, there were new techniques in the presidential vote, notably one known as carousel voting.
We caught on video several examples when people in different regions tried to use this old-style technology, just stuffing ballots in boxes. But now there are lots of web cameras, so this old-style technology doesn't work. There is a special technology called carousel, when people riding in buses around the city, voting for several times. And this was popular also in parliamentary election, but not very popular because usually they try to put hundreds of ballots in one box. It's easy to see when people are all in the same clothes. They are, for sure, they're going together. Several dozens of people, they're coming together at the election poll. This is organized. You can see that in video or in photo. Maybe it will be difficult to prove, but it is evident for everybody. I would say that Putin really has some support. It's around 35–40%, and it may be more than other candidates who participated in the race, but he didn't win at first round.
Now for our weekly roundup of the best stories and images sent in by our observers. First stop, Chianocco in the north of Italy with our observer Emmanuel Cu. Now, Emmanuel says he has nothing against trains in general, but he's fighting tooth and nail against a new high-speed line that's going to connect Lyon and Turin. He says the huge project costs too much and will have a terrible effect on the environment. Emmanuel has been demonstrating peacefully against the project, but other protesters have shown less restraint. Anarchist groups have joined in, and as you see here, things got out of hand one day last month. Next stop, Benghazi, the cradle of the Libyan revolution, with our observer Fatima Aguila. You might have seen this video before, a group of hooded men, some carrying weapons, vandalizing a cemetery, the graves of British soldiers killed during World War II. Britain's Foreign Office was quick to blame Salafists, extremists who advocate a fundamentalist form of Islam. But Fatima says things are not that simple. The men, she believes, were reacting to news that American soldiers had destroyed Qurans in Afghanistan. Yes, they were angry, but there's no sign that they were Salafists, Fatima says. For her, it wasn't ideology behind the vandalism, but plain old indignation, frustration, and gratuitous violence. Our last stop is the Czech capital, Prague, where someone has been messing with the traffic lights. Our observer Piotr Widensky says that one morning the good people of Prague woke up to find that someone had decapitated the little green and red men on their traffic lights. It turns out to be a sign of support for a local artist called Roman Tik. He is known for altering traffic lights himself, replacing the stop-and-go men with figures drinking or hanging by a noose. Tík has received awards abroad for his work, but in the Czech Republic he's been jailed for refusing to pay a fine. The artists collective he co-founded say they know nothing about the new headless traffic men. That's it for this week, but you can continue to follow our observers online. Check out our website for their latest reports, our Facebook and Twitter pages, and our iPhone app. See you next time, here or online.